Hello everyone and welcome back to Hitting the Field on Hitting the Field Network. We've got a great show for you today that will probably involve some pretty healthy debate. First up, we'll be talking MLB, specifically just when we'll see Albert Pujols get his 700th home run. We'll also attempt to settle some MVP debates, including Ohtani versus Judge. Who deserves it more? After that, we'll be talking about a few things that stood out to us yesterday for NFL's Week 2. And finally, I'll elaborate on why I agree with Alex Funderburk that College Game Day needs to spread the love. I'm your host, Hannah Jo Groves. Today is Monday, September 19th, 2022, and Hitting the Field starts right now.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
Welcome back. We are starting off today's show talking MLB, so we've got our experts here today, Nate Marrero and Kayla Lewis. Nate, how are you guys feeling today?
Feeling pretty good. Excited to talk MVP and Cy Young debates.
I'm excited as well. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, well, these two have been trash talking all morning. So let's get right into it. First, not a debate huge yet. Baseball fans are playing a guessing game with one another right about now when Albert Pujols, who has been in the MLB since 2001, will get his 700th home run. Now, this includes my Gammy, who's been a baseball fan her entire life, and she thinks being a member of the 700 Club would be a great way for Pujols to retire. Well, we'd figure we'd join in on the guessing game. Now, if Pujols gets to 700, he'll join the likes of Barry Bonds, who got 762, Hank Aaron, who got 755, and Babe Ruth, who got 714. Now, Pujols is 2 away at 698, and A-Rod is right behind him with 696. So, Kayla, what's your guess as to how many more games it will take for Pujols to get to 700?
All right, well, he's sitting at, 698 right now, like you said. I think they play the Padres the 28th through the 22nd. I think he's going to get 699 and 700 during that series. That's my guess.
That's your guess. Okay. Nate, how are you feeling about that?
I think he'll do it at home. I think he'll do it September 30th against the Pirates. I think it would just mean more for him to do it in front of the home crowd, and I'm hoping that's when he gets it done.
See, I think it's going to take a little bit longer. My guess is that we'll see him hit 700 during the Cardinals series against the Dodgers later on this month. It's a few weeks later than that. And I think, honestly, that's kind of my series to look forward to. That's kind of what we'll be talking about next. It's going to be September 23rd through 25th, Dodgers, which, I mean, the best team in baseball. You're welcome, Johnny Jackson. Going up against those Cardinals who, aren't as good, but, that could be a really great moment for the Cardinals to get to. So speaking of series coming up, what's one you're looking forward to, Nate?
The Cleveland Guardians against the Chicago White Sox is the series I'm looking forward to. The White Sox are 3.5 games back of the Guardians, and they have a 3-game series against them starting tomorrow. So if they can find a way to sweep the Guardians or take 2 out of 3, they'll be right in the thick of the race. They have their 3 best pitchers going, so that should give them a leg up. And the White Sox are uniquely positioned to impact both playoff races because they also have a series at the end of the month against the Padres. So if they can find a way to get back into the AL Central and maybe kick the Padres out of a wild card spot, they're uniquely positioned to have an impact throughout that will ripple throughout baseball.
So do you think playoff stakes are going to kind of make their level of play?
It should. And plus, I mean, when you have Dylan Cease and Lance Lynn and Lucas Giolito pitching in your 3 biggest games of the series, if they lose 2 out of 3, that's pretty much it. So I mean it's winner, that's it for them.
Okay. So Kayla, what series are you looking forward to?
All right, so mine is the Mets versus the Braves, September 30th through October 2nd. This could very well and probably will be the series that decides the NL East race. Right now, the Braves are sitting 1 game back. And, well, the Mets, everyone thought would do it. They've had it since, the beginning, but we're gaining on them. The Braves' bats are hot. And let's just go over this a little bit. So I think the Mets suck, okay? They lost to the Nationals twice recently, the Pirates once and the Marlins once, and they were swept by the Cubs in 3 games. Like the Cubs, they swept you? So last time they were in Atlanta playing us, we beat DeGrom when he was up pitching, which is huge. So I think, and Atlanta is home advantage, so we're playing at home. So I think that we're going to beat them, and the Mets are going to go down to second place.
So yeah, you've had a lot to say about the Mets this morning,
Yeah.
and the viewers haven't really gotten to see as much of that. But what's your thought about the Mets again?
They suck. They're going to lose the NL East and be second place. They'll have to play the wild card, and we'll just be sitting pretty at first. So, yeah.
Well, there you go, Austin Walker.
Yeah.
Those
Your
are
team
our
sucks.
thoughts. Those are our thoughts on the Mets. Well, okay, so this next topic could get a little more interesting. Kayla's already made this show very interesting, so thank you. Because from what I hear, you two have differing opinions on all of these MVP conversations. So I want to start with the one that I've heard Nate talking about for probably a few weeks, and your thoughts are very established
And
Very
around
established.
here.
They're not wrong.
So American League, we have kind of got two main guys in the conversation here, and that's Shohei Ohtani, who's on the Angels, and then we've also got Aaron Judge on the Yankees. So I'm gonna kind of sit back here. I told you guys the game would kind of be try to convince me, because I'm not super partial. I'm a little more partial on this one, admittedly.
Okay.
But Nate, tell me who your pick is and why.
It's Aaron Judge, and it shouldn't be a conversation. He has a chance to win the Triple Crown. He's batting .316, 59 home runs. He's gonna hit over 60 home runs, 127 RBIs. He leads in OPS. In every major offensive category, he leads the AL. And on top of that, I mean, without him, the Yankees would be fighting for a wild card spot. He's one of the best players in baseball. And without him, the Yankees would be fighting for a wild card spot. And at some point, valuable has to mean something. He's been the best player on the second best team in the American League. Shohei Ohtani's on the fourth place team. And, without him, they would still suck. So for me, it's not a conversation. Aaron Judge is the best player in the American League, and he should win MVP.
Kayla.
Well, first, he's overrated. Yes, he hits home runs, but that's it. Yes, okay. He's a
okay.
good fielder. I'll give him that. But, okay, let's go over this. So, do you know how many strikeouts he's had at the plate this season?
I mean, does it matter when
It
you're going to hit
does, though.
60 home runs?
So let's go over it. So he's had 158 strikeouts. Ohtani's only had, 145.
And that's a pitcher.
And he's a pitcher, exactly. One of the only people to still be pitching and batting. He's very good. Ohtani started 25 times pitching, and really the team's fate is literally in Ohtani's hands when he's pitching. He puts the power in the bats, and all Aaron Judge is hit home runs, really.
Hit home runs. He leads the AL in RBIs.
So?
And he's hit 3 walk-off home runs for them this season. He plays, I mean, you want to talk about something Aaron Judge doesn't do. Like freaking Ohtani doesn't field, and Judge is a Gold Glove caliber center fielder and right fielder. He's made no errors all year. It's not a conversation. It's not a conversation.
But isn't baseball all about, being able to do it all? Isn't Shohei Ohtani the ideal baseball player?
But he pitches, he hits, and the Angels still
Exactly.
suck. He has a chance to make such a big impact, and the Angels are still in 4th place.
Well, we were
It doesn't
just
matter about the
talking,
Angels.
Nate.
He's a good player himself.
But it's the most valuable player. So how are you valuable when your team
He
still
pitches
sucks?
and he bats.
I see what you're saying with such a great record in center field. I do understand that, but I think this one goes for me to Kayla.
Jesus.
Thank you.
But let's move on, because I think you might have a better chance in this next one. Let's
Yeah,
talk
I
about
don't know.
National League. We've got Kayla kind of going with a favorite of her team. We've got Michael Harris this second, and then kind of going up against Nate's pick, which is Paul Goldschmidt. So, Kayla, let's start with you this time.
Oh, good. Okay. So, yeah, Michael Harris, he is a rookie, but he is a very deserving rookie. He has come in clutch multiple times this season. He with hits, home runs when they've needed it. He's a great center fielder. He's made so many good catches this season that could have lost the game for the Braves, really, if he didn't make the catches. He's played in 99 games because he came up May 28th. Now, Paul Goldschmidt, which you're about to mention, I know, played 139 games. And Michael Harris has a batting average of .305. Paul Goldschmidt has a batting average of .322. He's a rookie and almost up to Goldschmidt's level. Want to go on and talk about it, Nate?
Well, I mean, he still has a better batting average than Michael Harris, so I fail to see the logic in that. I mean, he's top 6 in home runs, RBIs, OPS. He leads the NL with a 7.7 WAR. I mean, he does everything at an elite level, and he's doing it for the first place Cardinals. So that's.
And Harris is a rookie and still almost up to that level.
Well, I mean,
already.
they can't. That's when you vote for MVP. That's not how you should. Oh, well, you can't just cater to him because he's in his rookie year. He's great. Don't get me wrong.
Thank you.
But I mean, it's not. He's not on Paul Goldschmidt's level.
Yet.
I do feel like it's interesting to bring a rookie into this conversation. Nate, how do you feel about that?
I mean, if he's good enough, he's good enough.
Well,
but,
do you think he
but I
is?
don't think
You
he's better
don't
than
think
Paul
he is.
Goldschmidt.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question now. How many triples Paul Goldschmidt have this year? I'll tell you. It's 0. Harris has 2.
And how many home runs does Michael Harris have?
Let's see. 18.
And Paul Goldschmidt has 35. How many
He also
RBIs
came up
has
late.
Michael Harris?
He also came up late in the
driven in?
season. He's a rookie.
But
He's
that's
very
not.
deserving.
You're supposed to base it on the whole
Doesn't matter.
season.
I kind of like a rookie as an MVP, but Kayla, I'm going to have to give this one to Nate.
That's okay.
The numbers are just better. You've got numbers on your side this time. All right, so Cy Young, let's go there. AL, Kayla's pick is
Dylan Cease from the White Sox, which you mentioned earlier, so that's kind of funny. He has a 14-7 record, 167 innings pitched, a 2.16 ERA. It's very good. 214 strikeouts. He's played in 29 games. He's very good. The White Sox, like the fate of their team, could come down in his hands, and he's been a very good pitcher all season.
well, and so this isn't a great team, and so you're saying he's a standout for this.
They've been an okay team this year. Like they're in the, running against the Guardians in the Central, but I feel like he's been such a great pitcher. He can really help them get there.
Okay, so going up against your pick on the Astros.
Justin Verlander, he's
Justin Verlander.
17-3 this season with an ERA under 2. He has a WHIP under 1, and he's almost thrown as many innings as Dylan Cease, despite missing almost a month due to calf injury. He's had, lowest ERA in AL, lowest WHIP in AL. He also had 10 outings where he's allowed 0 earned runs. So to have those stats despite missing a month is pretty impressive.
Are you sure he's 17-3? I thought he was 13-8.
It's 17-3.
Are you sure?
I think the graphics wrong.
Uh-oh. Johnny Jackson.
I think he got his record mixed up with Sandy Alcantara. It happened.
Okay.
Well, no one likes Astros anyway, so.
Yeah, we can agree on that.
Well, that doesn't mean that we should cheat Justin Verlander out of that
Well,
conversation.
No, he should win.
Dylan
necessarily.
Cease is still better.
Okay, well, so last conversation we've got here, National League Cy Young, we've got Sandy Alcantara, and that is you, Nate, or is that Kayla?
That's me.
That's you, go ahead.
He's a workhorse. He has to do everything for the Marlins. He's pitched over 200 innings. He's 13-8 with a 2.37 ERA. He's had 24 starts where he's allowed 3 runs or less. And if he doesn't do that, the Marlins don't have a chance. And the Marlins have one of the worst offenses in baseball. So if he doesn't hold a team to 2 runs or less, the odds are they're going to lose. No one has to do more for their team when they're on the mound than Sandy Alcantara.
Okay, Dodgers, Miss Girl.
Well, first, best record in baseball right now.
Yep.
Tony Gonsolin. That's my pick. He's part of that team, so obviously he's helped them out. He has been out since late August with a forearm strain. He's still really good. He has a 2.10 ERA, 116 strikeouts. He's 16-1 on the year. That's very good. And now the Marlins are out of playoff contention, so.
But Cy Young's an individual award. If
That's
he put
okay.
Sandy Alcantara on the Dodgers, he'd have
He's
20
also
wins.
13-6. So.
Because of the offense,
Okay, you two,
he's not
I'm
on the
gonna
best
have
team
to
in
cut it off
baseball.
here. That's all the time we have to talk and debate baseball for now. I genuinely can't wait to see who's right and who's way wrong. Kayla and Nate, thank you so much for being on with me today. When we come back, I'll be joined by Ray Collado and Ty Paton to talk about some of the things that stood out to us during week 2 of NFL. We'll be right back.
HTF Hot Takes. I'm Johnny Jackson. We've got Emily Aaron to my right and Maluka Costa to my left.
Hello and welcome to our segment of Hot Ones. I'm here with Noah Kemper and Grant
Wheeler.
Yep, I knew that. Grant Wheeler.
Listen, I'm a Bulls fan, but I just can't ever argue against LeBron. I watched him my whole life.
I've been going back and forth with this debate for a long time. It's got to be Michael Jordan.
Whatever she wanted. I would wake up in a maid costume for Doja Cat.
Brutal.
Jeffrey Laux, no question.
Richie, I would give it to Richie.
It is not Richie. It is not Richie.
No, it's Jeff.
Richie's pronouns are he, they, because he cannot be him.
What?
Oh, where's that?
I'm gonna have to also agree and say Jeff. He always is spiffy.
It might be Cameron. Cameron's had some good fits.
Out of the women, Norelli always dresses really, really cute.
Brother. That went so awful.
It's basketball.
College football, I think, is the best sport to watch.
If you don't like soccer, it's because you suck at it.
I think college football is the best.
Thanks for watching.
And we're back. Week 2 of the NFL was record-breaking in a few different ways. We saw one of the longest plays ever drawn out by Kyler Murray, a physical fight between Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore, and a 20-point comeback, but not by one team, but two teams in one day. Keeping in mind that didn't even happen once last season. So here to talk about just some of this with me are Roy Collado and Ty Paton. Ty, how are you feeling today after a crazy Sunday?
I am feeling great, but I did not hit on any of my picks this week. It was a very, very, very crazy week of football.
Okay.
I honestly did not see the Dolphins coming.
That's what we're going to start off with.
I can't believe that happened. The Ravens, they pulled the Hammer herd, if you know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know.
Okay, well, so let's start with the Dolphins versus the Ravens. This was one of the games that we saw a 20-point comeback and maybe some perspective changes here. Ty, the Dolphins, how did they turn it around in the second half?
So if we're being completely honest with Tua's play, that was honestly an MVP caliber fourth quarter from Tua. Tua came in and threw for 36 completions for 50 attempts for 469 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Besides that, on top of that, Tyreek Hill comes in with 11 receptions for 180.
Tyreek Hill, Tyreek Hill was amazing, but it's like Tua and him became best friends going into the half.
Well, that was exactly their goal.
Yeah, I don't know what they seen, what was happening in the first half. They came in, they saw something they loved, but I don't know. The Ravens defense is all to blame for this because Lamar Jackson balled out. You can't drop 38 points and lose a game. Yeah, they had 10 points in the second half, and you can say that's a little bad, but still, 38 points, you got to win the game with 30 points. If you can't win a game with 38 points, something's wrong with your defense.
Well, is it that, or are the Dolphins kind of showing that they're good? I mean, how did Tua prove some doubters wrong?
Yeah, I see. He was using every fiber of that muscle in that noodle arm. But you can still see, even when he was throwing those deep balls to Tyreek still had a weight of it. It didn't look as clean as it was with Mahomes. Then again, that's unfair to compare him to Mahomes.
That is true.
Because Mahomes is like one of the great quarterbacks of our day. But still, I'm calling fluke. I don't see this being maintained.
Okay.
I will say though, on the other side of the ball, Lamar Jackson had his 11th, and that makes a record in the NFL, game with 100 or more rushing yards, beating out Michael Vick to hold the record now. So both teams had a great offense.
Yeah, well,
go ahead.
Sorry, he had a 79-yard touchdown run. That's the longest of his career. And I mean, this guy is a mobile quarterback. We know that. Now, Tua, I think, proved a lot of people wrong, like you said. He's using the deep threat, not only with Tyreek Hill, but also with Jalen Waddle. I mean, Ty, how does Jalen Waddle also benefit from Tyreek Hill's presence on this team?
So Tyreek Hill on the Chiefs took a whole lot of opportunities for double coverage. Defenses loved for him to just get in there and put 2 on him. But now that you get here with Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Raheem Mostert, Chase Edmonds, and Mike Gesicki, all these targets, that most of which are going to need double coverage if you want to cover them in open field, it's target after target after attempt for Tua. Everyone's open. Jalen Waddle just literally makes more catches because of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Tyreek there, he's the definition of a cheetah. We've seen a lot of players come in with track speed without the ball. They run like a 4.2 flat, but he's one of the few players you could see that he keeps that speed with the ball, and he demands 2 people. Because you've seen those 2 tutties he had if you don't cover him properly. So Jason Waddle's going to thrive this season. I'm feeling he's going to have more catches than he did last season. He had like over 100 catches last season.
Well, so then let's move to the other side of the ball here, the Ravens. What kind of improvements are they going to need to make to really put themselves up as a force in their division?
The Ravens right now, offensively, they're a great team. The run game is amazing. Of course, when you got Lamar back there, passing Mike Vick, to be honest, that doesn't surprise me at all. The second I seen Lamar's running ability, I'm like, okay, this dude's gonna pass up Mike Vick. He's Mike Vick 2.0. He's Mike Vick who could throw the ball much better. So defensively on the side of the ball is where they're gonna need to improve, because I know this is a cliche, but defense wins championships. No matter how good your defense is, no matter how good your offense is, your defense has to be good. The greatest show on turf, they were great offense, 2000 reference by the way, but they still, why did they lose? Defense couldn't hold it up in the end.
And on top of that, Lamar has the speed of a running back coming out here with targets like Rashad Bateman and Mark Andrews, who are 2 huge targets. So you have him as a dual threat quarterback who's really putting up very big numbers for quarterback, especially of his caliber.
Yeah, but with that, it's great that he's running, but it takes him to get tackled one wrong way, and it's all over. That's what the common theme is with running quarterbacks. They get tackled one wrong, right, and that's it. They're gone, and then they get exposed because now they're forced to pass only, and you see oh wow, this guy really isn't that good. It's just his running. I'm not saying Lamar Jackson isn't that good, but I'm saying in the past, running quarterbacks, one hit and they're done.
But then I have to come in and say that he's way more elusive than most running quarterbacks in the league right now.
Give me that.
You see him spin out of so many tackles, break away from so many tackles, get into open field. He has so much speed under him.
Not most. He is the most. Not the
Definitely
most. He's the most elusive quarterback.
The fastest quarterback in the NFL by a mile.
And yet, Tua wins.
Oh yeah.
So how did they stop him?
Are you asking how they stopped Tua or how do they stop Lamar?
How did they stop Lamar?
You get a bunch of speed across the edge in Melvin Ingram. You got amazing guys at corner and safety, especially Xavier Howard, who didn't perform all as well as I thought he was going to in this game. But that speed on the edge literally traps Lamar inside the pocket and forces him to run up the middle, and that's where his weakness is right up the middle.
Yeah, you got to stop. You got to shut off his legs. If you could stop, you stop one facet of his game, you're gonna stop Lamar. But that being said, easier said than done. So, bravo to the Dolphins for doing that.
Very much easier said than done. Bravo.
Well, yeah, next up, let's go to the Cardinals versus Raiders. Now, the Cardinals were completely scoreless in the first half, and yet somehow Kyler Murray and company pulled out the win in overtime and finished 29-23. I mean, this game was fumble city toward the end. Ray, what was your overall experience watching the fourth quarter in overtime?
It's like the Raiders wanted to lose the game. It's like, first of all, I'm guessing, I'm going to hit with Kyler Murray real quick, because I'm guessing he had to put down, he was playing COD in the first half, so he had to put down the controller real quick and actually play some football, because he balled out the second half, but that's more on the other team, because I don't know how that happens. Oh my goodness.
You're good.
I want to jump in there and talk about, a lot of people spoke on that Cliff Kingsbury called a great second half of the game, but I think it was all Kyler Murray. A 2-point conversion in the fourth quarter. Kyler Murray kept it going for 20.8 seconds. That is the longest play in regulation throughout the season if you count the time he had behind the line of scrimmage.
Fighting spirit.
He just has a way of extending the play. Nobody else can do it like that except maybe Lamar.
My friend was joking that Kyler was singing to himself during that whole thing, just kind of singing a little song.
Just keep swimming.
Literally. Something to keep him just going. But Ty, can you get more specific for me? What were the Cardinals struggling with in the first half?
In the first half, a big thing of it was the run game. James Conner goes out early, only puts up 25 yards. And with that run game is gone. They don't have Chase Edmonds anymore, as he's now with Miami. So once you lose James Conner, you take out one of the biggest pieces of your offense, and you leave it up to Marquise Brown and a team without DeAndre Hopkins, who was Kyler Murray's biggest threat last year.
At the end of the day, I feel the Raiders lost this, because in the second half, they only had 3 points.
Exactly.
So the Raiders were giving this game away. And I'm not big on rumors, but Dana White and Gronk really hinted towards the Raiders being the team Tom Brady was talking about. And now I see why Brady said you're sticking with that. You know what? Because I'm like, how you go 3 points in the whole second half?
I know.
You gave in the 2 fumbles in the end. They were trying to, you couldn't get the first fumble here. How's the game, sir?
Let's talk about those expectations, though. In terms of how you expected the Raiders to perform, especially Derek Carr and Devontae Adams, that duo, what did this game show you?
I honestly wasn't surprised about the results, because as good as a receiver is, it's a dependent position. You need a quarterback to be good. And as good as Devontae Adams is, Derek Carr isn't the guy to do it for him.
Interesting. Okay, well, speaking of good quarterbacks then, what does it take for a defense to contain Kyler Murray?
So in the first half of that game, you saw that the Cardinals held to very little points. And due to that, I do believe it was because Max Crosby and Chandler Jones are the edge rushers on that Las Vegas team. And in the first half, they put it together. Those edge rushers, that defensive line, they really got in there and stopped them. But they don't have enough chemistry yet where they can mesh and know exactly what they're doing on that line. I think it takes time, but I think they get together, and eventually down the year, they start to show what they did that first half.
Well, on Sunday Night Football, we saw the oldest rivalry in National Football League history. The Packers went up against the Bears, if you can even call it going up against.
That's not a rivalry.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers showed once again that he indeed owns Bear fans. Now, Ty, what did the Packers improve this week from last week to be so dominant over these Bears?
So I think
Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties. Here we go.
So I think towards the beginning of the game, Justin Fields showed a lot of poise in the pocket. I think he played exceptionally well through the first drive, and then it just all started to unravel. His poise fell apart. He started to realize who he was going up against, where he was going up in, and that Lambeau Field will just play with your mind. And I do think a lot of it was simply the timing, the location, and Aaron Rodgers just instilling fear in him.
You know, I love the question. You said, what did they improve? Aaron Rodgers got the hookup. He's a majority shareholder of the Chicago Bears. He said it himself after the game. He's got the hookup. He ordered them to lose.
Oh man, I hated that moment last year. Anyway, we're gonna move on to our last segment here. It is Silhouette Roulette. So here we go, guys. I've got someone for you to guess. So wide receivers did great this past week. We've got Cortland Sutton had 194 yards. Christian Kirk, who I should have started in fantasy, it's a darn shame, at 195 yards. Cooper Kupp got to 236. Our mystery man got to 240, and Tyreek Hill got to 284. So, Ray, what's your guess?
Okay, I'm going to say, I don't know why I keep blanking. I'm thinking Jason Waddle. I'm going to go with Jason Waddle.
His name is Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle.
on,
Okay,
bud.
so
That's my
Come
dog.
on, man.
what's your guess, Ty?
I think I'm also going to say Jalen Waddle.
Well,
snap.
boys, if you can't tell from the silhouette, you are correct.
Let's go.
It is Jalen Waddle. He had 11 receptions, 2 touchdowns yesterday. He only got 4 receptions last week, by the way. They're really utilizing him a lot more, which I think is great. They got him to be this deep threat, and Tua is showing that now that he has Tyreek Hill in that option, he can kind of show his noodle arm, as Ray called it earlier. Maybe not so noodly after all. But unfortunately, that's all the time we have to talk NFL for this week, though I truly do wonder if next week will be as momentous. I really kind of doubt it. Guess we'll just have to wait and see. Ray and Ty, thank you so much for being on with me today. When we come back, I will give you my thoughts, highly swayed by Alex Funderburk, on College Game Day's lack of distribution of itself. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now comes the rant part of our show, and this week I'm glad to still be in contact with the former host of this show, Alex Funderburk. I'm riding his coattails again for this week's rant, but that's very much because I agree with him. Basically, he had a brief tweet thread on Saturday about how College Game Day needs to go to a different school every week, including the schools that might not get the most coverage in the media. The phrase he used is spread the love, and that's exactly what they should be doing. We're seeing the same schools involved every year, sometimes multiple times in a season. It's called College Game Day, not just Alabama or Ohio State Game Day. Sorry, Camden. But really, before I went to UCF, I went to a small D1 school in Birmingham, Alabama called Samford University. And I just know, kind of firsthand, how much it would mean to that community to have College Game Day on that campus. But back to what Alex was saying, his direct quote is, "Tell the full story of the sport we all love." Admittedly, I'm one of those weird people that prefers NFL to college football. I know. But if you, one of the more woke people, claim to love college football but wouldn't watch if game day didn't include the top 10 or 15 schools, do you really love it? Let's venture to learn about other, maybe smaller schools. Let's actively listen to their legacy and take part in seeing how their present and future are playing out. And let's let it have an impact on us, on our emotions, on our appreciation of the game of football. College Game Day has the resources and power to make this happen and to create lifelong memories for everyone on campus. Alabama students have had their time. Let's spread the love, College Game Day. That's our show for today. We'll be back next week to bring you more Hitting the Field. Thanks for watching, and on behalf of myself, Kelly Campbell, and all of us here at HTFN, have a great week. Peace.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated chance, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.